begin to appear.
Once we plugged up the hole, the temperature started to rise. We were afraid because it could have caused another explosion. It was terrifying. Scientists came to take readings. They were very worried. They were afraid the critical temperature would be reached and it would set off a second explosion. That would have been a terrible tragedy.
The cement slab below the reactor core is heating up and in danger of cracking. The magnet is threatening to seep through. The water the firemen poured during the first cycles of the disaster has cooled below the slab. If the radioactive magma makes contact with the water, it could set off a second explosion even more devastating than the first. The country's top experts have called into action. Vasily Nestorenko was one of them. At the time, he was working on improving the Soviet Union's intercontinental nuclear missiles.
If the heat managed to crack the cement slab, only 1,400 kilograms of uranium and graphite mixture would have needed to hit the water to set off a new explosion.
The ensuing chain reaction could set off an explosion, comparable to a gigantic atomic bomb.
Our experts studied the possibility and concluded that the explosion would have had a force of 3 to 5 megatons. Minsk, which is 320 kilometers from Chernobyl, would have been razed and Europe rendered. We had to stop the war. If it continued, it would have been an enormous disaster. An enormous nuclear.
This second explosion would have been accompanied by a terrible shockwave and a massive rise in radioactivity that would have claimed thousands of lives in a matter of hours.
Thank God it didn't happen. There were trains with over 1,000 cars in Minsk, Gomel, and Kiev, ready to evacuate the population.
The situation is critical. In Moscow, the State Commission decreed 2 emergency measures. First, they led a battalion of firemen to drain the water from under the reactor. They will later be declared national heroes, but will suffer from radiation sickness the rest of their lives. Second, seal the breach more effectively to bring the temperature down once and for all. In 2 days, General Antochkin's men will drop 2,400 tons of lead into the reactor.
When we started dumping lead, the temperature went down right away. It absorbed lead and sealed the hole as it melted, so there was less radiation.
But some of this lead melts when it hits the blaze or vaporizes into the atmosphere. 20 years later, traces of it can be found in the sick children of Chernobyl.
Criticized today, but given the situation, there was no better solution. And all the people, military or civilians, officers or not, worked selflessly. I participated in this first stage, and I can tell you, it had to be done. It was heroism.
During this operation, 600 pilots are fatally contaminated with radiation. All of them died, but their efforts only by a few days. Although it has been covered over, the fire still isn't out. Flying over in helicopters isn't solving the problem. They need to get closer, go down into the breach. With the imminent threat of a second explosion still looming, the makeshift measures continue. The blueprints of the plant reveal that the active zone can be approached through the cable and pipe tunnels built out of thick cement. A delegation of technicians from the Kirchhoff Institute venture into the labyrinth. It's tough going. Parts of the tunnels have collapsed in the explosion. They pierce through the shell of the fourth reactor with a blowtorch and stick their radioactivity detectors and thermometers in, along with cameras. The result is terrifying. The radiation levels are astronomical, and their worst fears are confirmed. Magma has cracked the cement slab and seeped into the empty basin. It is now. There was a fire. We drained the water from under the reactor. Something absolutely had to be done. Something had to be put underneath the reactor to keep the magma from seeping down.
鸡是不是啊？
这个是尖叫奖。
不打了，不打了。
抓海比兽。
不是龙，
抓海比兽。
不是龙。
干，教他们烂，你什么意思？
你是打我喽？
几个意思？在水旁边。
应该退出，应该退出。
怎么了？1打2。
Double kill！ 哇，婴儿！
他是鬼吧？
是。
We absolutely needed to come up with a solution. A new operation is considered.
在水旁边。
应该退出，应该退出。
怎么了？1打2。
Double kill！ 哇，婴儿！
他是鬼吧？
谁给我5块钱呢？
讲吗？
哇哦！
是。
谁给我5块钱呢？
讲吗？
哇哦！
这太了。
然后你过去你就死掉了。
为什么不会掉地上？
好悲
你
哦！
没有。
我在辅助他来了，然后我没有发现。他来了，帮我买个东西的吧。
高手，你们这边怎么赚钱？站着。高手，你们这边怎么赚钱？站着。
有料，
这也可以，
真的可以，躺着都可以。
救命！救命！救命！救命！
2 meters high and 30 meters wide, with a complex cooling system with nitrogen will be set.
这边有一只狗，
他离开游戏，
它离开游戏。你怎么感觉是被女生打？
开全屏。
你要告诉我什么东西女？
那听起来像没。
Between 20 and 30 meters. The tunnel, which has no ventilation, the temperature hits 50 degrees Celsius, and radioactivity is at a minimum of 100 per
We worked without any protecting gear. The mines couldn't use masks because the filters would get down after a few minutes. So everyone just took them off and kept on working with them, with our shirts off too. We drank water out of open bottles, which was really bad because the radioactive particles were ingested right into our body. One of our comrades swallowed a grain of sand that was highly radioactive. He died. How can we know what each of us breathed or ingested? So the hardest thing was the lack of oxygen. Was an incredible heat. It was hot, hot, hot. Небольшое количество свежего
压
I needed to work really fast.
他怎么上来的啦？
Great pace. Fast and fast.
飞上来的，不然他怎么上来的？
Go, go, go.
我不打，我不打，
minus rage of
不打。
3 hours.
这个
发现件事情，
In 1
时尚豪宅，
50 meter
要怎么摆放房子？
the mine would have moved it.
买来之后叫
Some of the most dangerous places were not underground. There wasn't as much radiation below the reactors. But as soon as we came up, we had to run even faster.
Radioactivity at the mouth of the tunnel is 300 times higher.
算是
Not a single miner is spared from exposure. Not once are they informed of the real dangers they are facing.
是不见了，
Someone had to go and do it.
然后
Us or someone else. We did our duty.
是不
What
是
should we have done it?
好
It's too late to judge. I don't regret anything.
对吧？
The miners finished their
必
mission
死，你又没去炸，
now set up with the
我有
The underground
我
room
天贴，
is spent to solidify the structure.
这把我的拿我被消耗要快没的是什么意思？
But survivors claim they received up to 5 times that amount. It is estimated that a fourth of these men died before the age of 40. 2,500 lives lost that don't appear in any official statistic. While the miners are still digging below the reactor, Hans Flix, the Soviet authorities, organizes a press conference in Moscow.
还敢开是不是？
我地狱开不了，地狱太暗了。我地狱我真的直接用炸的，
那我们可以就是
没
看这
差
个，
啊。
他们有切切，好丑，
We have now agreed
好丑。
with the Soviet authorities to come to Vienna for a
像有吧？
post-send analysis.
In front of 500 journalists from all over the world, he announces
属于我的那个吧。
a conference that will be held in Vienna, where the Soviets have agreed to share all their data on the disaster.
The accident.
The most
那么
important
他理他，他不理我。
was that the Russian people,
We can believe these guys. They were used to having a government, but they didn't believe in the and accidents and disasters were usually suppressed. They didn't inform about them. So what they learned about this was just kept them worried that it might be even worse. It was bad enough. But they felt that these guys would trust. So this was a victory for Glasnost.
the Soviets agreed to cooperate fully with the West, an historic change that
跟那个就是说那个要去上课的那个，
needed. Because
但
although
是可以了。
the breach of tons of radioactive
那今天早上
to the elements, it is of the utmost urgency to cover the broken structure and clean up the zone. But for that, more men will be needed, many more men.
错误了，这个反过来了。我们他不是那这个错误了，这个反过来了。我们他不是他的名字就盖错啊。
The disaster
该
normally
说
addresses
该说
小型度假村啊，你们看一下，他在反过来。
哪里在哪里？
王维他王维书屋旁边。
在后面。我的耳朵看到了，我看到了。
上坏了，然后我要护着一只床。但是
这
把
可以挖开，
毒起来白豆。
这可以挖开啊！等一下，看到我画的简单到地方。
The entire country was mobilized. No bureaucratic formality. If someone had what we needed, we took it. No formality. We'd worry about the cost later. We took whatever we needed. It was a frontline situation.
General Nikolai Kakhanov is sent to command the land troops.
In 1 year, 100,000 soldiers and officers passed through Chernobyl. They were all reservists. They were summoned up by the top administration in their cities and sent to the front.
Military personnel, civilians, officers or simple soldiers, all of them are liquidators, a term invented for the Battle of Chernobyl. Their mission: clean and liquidate the radioactivity.
哦
比他硬，
也被他
比他硬。
哇，过来
他打
哦！
我了，
那个叫哦，两百零四，204。那一只是那个叫，我之前在我国小，我学校国小那个，用的那一只，那个还行。现在在直播，现在在直播，
他在开直播。
对。
Three of his colleagues are now dead.
我去跟他讲主战，没事，在当前的，也自主学习啊。
I'm a general. Do what I say. Everyone was honestly doing what they could. And so the operation named the liquidation of the Chernobyl accident was set in motion.
100,000 troops,
刚好一个吊桥了，
civilians, workers, engineers, nurses, doctors, and scientists from every Soviet republic passed through Chernobyl. The Soviet Union is waging its last major battle.
100,000 people. The troops in Chernobyl were bigger than the Baltics, but our army got contaminated.
刚好一个吊桥了，
Tons of sticky
桥了。
felt a mixture that coagulates plastic the radioactive dust.
他又不关我，哭我。
Meanwhile, brigades of liquidators are in charge of cleaning out the zone, and its White House of removing the layer of radioactive dust that covers everything.
Special hunting squad was they patrolled the countryside and forest with rifles, killing cats and dogs.
All the animals had to be killed because when they wandered through the highly contaminated zones, their fur soaked up the radioactivity. They could contaminate the liquidators. The last villages with people still remaining in the zone are evacuated. The houses are knocked down one by one. The lights, the trucks, the machines, and the men are covered in radioactive dust.
We would wash 5 or 6 times in the shower. We helped each other. We used the hand glove and the roughest soap available.
Хорошая мочалка и самое суровое хозяйственное новое, которое ее солдатство.
We scrubbed away.
Голова, тело, по 5-3 раза, пока уже не устаешь.
We put on new clothes, then we ate.
Ну все,
We ate really well there. Because you need to keep your strength up to fight the ionizing radiation.
при работе
Ionizing